In this video, we're going to talk about Boolean data type and Boolean expressions in Python. So first, what is Boolean? Boolean is a special data type that represents one of the two values, true or false. And a Boolean expression is an expression that evaluates to a Boolean value. So when you compare two values, for example, the expression is evaluated and Python returns a Boolean answer. And when a Boolean expression is evaluated, again, we can say it produces either a value of true, meaning the condition holds, or it produces false, meaning that the condition does not hold. And it sounds like I'm keep repeating myself, but you can also evaluate any expression in Python and still get a Boolean value. And a special Python function called bool can return the Boolean value of any expression. And the word Boolean comes from the English mathematician George Boole. So before we see some Boolean expression examples, let's look at the comparison operators. So here's a table of comparison operators. As you can see, the comparison in mathematics versus comparison in Python or any other computer language in that matter. So in most cases, we represent an equal operator as two equal signs because we already use one equal sign for assignment operator in programming. So two equal sign for the meaning equal to, and then anything else less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to. This is how we can represent them in Python. And let's see some examples. So here a Boolean expression that says 10 is greater than 9. And the return of this expression would be true because 10 is greater than 9. However, if you say 10 is equal to 9, you'll get false. Or if you say 10 is less than 9, you also get false. And you can also compare strings to each other as well. Here in this example, hello is equal to hello will return true. And then you can also assign the result of a Boolean expression to a variable as well. So when we evaluate the right hand side of this assignment operator, for example 10 is greater than 9 will return true. So then we assign the true to b variable, and if we call b, we'll get true back. And then let's see how we can use the bool function. So you can pass in a Boolean expression into bool function. It will return its Boolean value, just like this one. And then, but bool can do other things as well. Bool can take an expression that itself is not necessarily a Boolean expression. And as we said earlier, in Python, anything can be evaluated to true or false. That's what bool function does. So if you pass 1 to bool function, you get true back. And if you pass 0, you'll get false. And you can pass an empty list, you can get a false. You can pass a list that has a value, even the value itself is false, you get true back. An important note in this case, in Python, there are certain things are false and anything else is true when if it is not specified. For example, 0 is false, an empty string is false, an empty list is false, and the false itself is of course false value, and anything that we don't mention is automatically true. And let's see some examples in Python shell. And let's write some Boolean expressions in Python. So here we go. The first thing I want to do is I want to compare 1 to 1. Is 1 equal to 1 basically? True. How about 1 is not equal to 1? And that's false. And we can also say 1 equal to 0 is false, but 1 not equal to 0 is true because 1 is not equal to true. And you can also create variables. Let's say a is 3 and b is 4, and you can make comparisons between variables as well. is A equal to B, false, and then A is not equal to B is true. As we said, you can also compare strings to each other as well. Let's say string Bob equal to Bob with capital B. The answer here will be false because the capitalization in computer with programming, lowercase b and uppercase b are not the same thing. And you can also do this. You can say, is Bob greater than Bob? Here the answer will be true because this b is greater than this b. And now let's look at the bool function. Again, bool is a built-in Python function, and you can use anything that we've done in the previous examples. 1 equal to 1 will return true, and if you can say 1 equal to 0 will return false. But you can also use bool for an expression that doesn't seem to be a Boolean expression, which means it is not a comparison. For example, 1. If you pass 1 to bool function, you will get true. If you pass 0 to bool function, you can get a false. And as said earlier, certain things are false, such as an empty string is false, and a string that has anything in it, even as a space, will true, or that it contains the Boolean false will still be true. So likewise, an empty list will be false. A list that contains any kind of data will be true. That data could be like say 2 Boolean false values will still be true. One last thing we can test with bool is, we already said, let's say 2 will return true, but what if -2? Will that return true? Yes, -2, or in that matter, negative values will be true as well. And that was a quick introduction to Boolean expressions and then how we could use bool function.